Long day for everybody here, and these seats are probably not the most comfortable right now. So I'm Coach JuJu. I'm the founder and owner of JuJu Performance. I've been training, I've been coaching for 8 years in this area. Before that, I was a three-sport athlete in high school. Many of you I've played against in high school. I used to play at Bergen High School under Marty Rivard. I went on to play at West Point. I'm an Army football player, 5-year U.S. veteran. After that, I got out because I had too many concussions, and I decided I wanted to coach. I actually started my coaching career at Varsity House, where I was the performance director for a year and a half, and then I decided that I wanted to start out on my own. So I've been on my own for about 3.5 years now. I've basically matriculated into being a basketball strength and conditioning coach over the last few years. And one of the big things that I've been working on last few years is I've been working on this project as to how to come to a common language amongst all of us as to how we can get, how we could evaluate our players. So I'm a stats guy, so I'm gonna throw out some stats here. So 3 years of training: Will Richardson, 19-1-1. Julian Brown, 17-1-1. Don Bosco, Dylan Harper, 22-2-1. Isaiah Brown, 10-1-1. St. Peter's Prep, Austin Spencer, 10-2-2. Richie Rosa, 18-5-2. I just gave you the front courts of some of the best basketball teams in New Jersey, right? Those are some of the athletes that I've had the pleasure of training. Why do I bring that up? Because year after year after year, they need to be showing that they're getting better. They need to be showing that they're getting faster. They need to be showing that they're getting stronger. How do we do that? When you ask a football player, when you want to evaluate a football player, what's the first thing that coaches will ask them? What's their 40 time? When you ask a basketball player how well they do, what do you ask them? How do you evaluate them? There's really not, we don't have a common language on how to evaluate basketball players. We don't. But because the NBA Combine, I'm going to use that as an example, is not very much commercialized, we don't even know what the tests are, right? So my goal out of this entire project that I've been working on for the last 8 months is to get to a point that we have a common set of tests that is trickled down from the pro level to the college level to the high school level, so that we can all have a common basis on what we talk about. Much to what Les talked about earlier in the presentation, how there's four components of speed. There's acceleration, there's max velocity, there's vertical power and change of direction. How do we evaluate that? So briefly in my presentation today, I'm going to show everybody 2 things that you could take away from this. So I know for a fact in North New Jersey, tryouts start the Monday before Thanksgiving, and you have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to do your tryouts, and then you're all off after Thanksgiving until the following Monday, which I don't know when did that start, because I used to have practice on Black Friday and could not eat as much. So one of the drills that is common across in the NBA that they use in the NBA Combine that you can use here, I'm also going to show you how to do this that you don't need equipment and you don't really need a lot, is a three-quarter sprint on the court. So let me just get one guy on the baseline. All you need is a court and a stopwatch, and you are just evaluating how fast that they run from the baseline to the opposite foul line. Generally speaking, I'll give you some numbers from a combine perspective so that you can have kind of a gauge on what numbers look like. So in the sprint from this past draft, Zion James ran a 2.97, Jalen Moore ran a 3 flat, and Jeremy Fears ran a 3.05. That's going baseline to the opposite foul line. You could use a stopwatch, you can use your phone, and you could use the timer on your clock. So when you're talking about evaluating your athletes for tryouts, if you just want to get a base number of figuring out, okay, this is how fast this kid runs, forget all the skills in basketball. How do we just evaluate the individual as an athlete? Okay, cool. Ready? Go. 3.5. Write that down. Next person goes. That's an easy evaluation right there that we talk about max velocity. That obviously translates into games as well. How fast can you get the ball out of bounds down the floor, transition offense, things like that. How fast they can get back from on defense as well too. Next drill we'll do is change of direction. So let me get one person right here. Oh, change of direction drill. Everybody know what a 5-10-5 drill is? Everybody familiar with the 5-10-5 a little bit? If you're a football player. So 5-10-5 is basically 5 yards one way, 10 yards the other way, and 5 yards back. In basketball, it's the short shuttle run. It is the same concept, it's just in a finite space. So, Rusty, you on the baseline. You're gonna put your player literally head straight up, lined up with the basket. The drill is they're gonna stand in front of you. You're gonna say go. They have to get 1 foot outside the paint, get the other foot outside the paint, and run straight through. Now you're testing their change of direction. Much to what Coach Martelli was talking about with defense before in his last presentation, where they step out, come back to the center, step back, come back to the center. You can test that from a change of direction perspective. Numbers-wise, Grant Nelson ran a 2.5, Rasheer Fleming ran a 2.7, and Liam McNeely ran a 2.75. So just to give you a heads up on that. Same thing. Ready? Go. Sprint through. 3.15. Same thing. Write that down. The other two drills that you can do is a vertical test. Now you're probably asking, well, how do I do a vertical test? The easiest way to do that in a gym, grab a piece of tape and just measure a beam, measure a wall that you have, and just have them stand from here 2 feet and just slam the tape on the top of the wall and just measure it from there, right? Measuring an athlete's capabilities on what they can do from an athletic perspective gives you a filtering process as to where you are with your athletes, right? Luckily for me, I've been blessed and been able to work with Bergen Catholic's team in the past. I've worked with Don Bosco's team for the last 3 years, and the goal is to incrementally see how well the players are getting month after month, year after year after year, as to how they're progressing. Now, I bring this to all of you because we all need to have a common language into doing this so that you all know how to evaluate your athletes coming into it. I know there's been a lot of AAU coaches in here, a lot of youth coaches in here. As kids are getting older, they're gonna have to start doing these tests, because at some point we're gonna have to get to the point that we have these conversations as to, like, forget skills, forget the basketball itself. What does the actual athlete look like, right? Made that kind of short because it's been a very long day. So anybody got any questions right now for me?
How fast do the kids have to run in terms of miles per hour in order to be considered fast or elite or to have a shot at any D1?
I mean, if you're a basketball player, like, you really want to run up and down the court in less than 3 seconds, if we're being real. If you really want to be if you're an eye gauge, like an eye catcher from, like, court speed, you're up the court in less than 3 seconds.
What does that equate to in miles?
Yeah, no, just up in 3 seconds. Yeah. So for me, I usually test my athletes every week, because I usually do it every week for all my basketball players, all my lacrosse players, all my football players. I do it every week because I like to plot things. Again, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a nerd. I like to plot things on a line graph, and also I use USR, so USR allows me to do that. So I can incrementally see their progress over time and basically definitively be like, each athlete's gonna have a dip here. Like, not everybody's gonna be always healthy at that given moment. But if you see over a 3-month span that they're incrementally getting better, then you know you're doing something right, or they're doing something right, right? One thing that I also always say about strength and conditioning is that I am just a piece in the entire environment of an athlete. The athlete, especially in high school, they have their coach, they have home life. All those things play a factor into their development as well. So one of the things that I try to be very humble about is like you can't take all the credit for everything that happens in an athlete. The only thing that I would say is that we try to lead them in the right direction where they need to go if they want to get from this point in their career to the next point, where that's, you know, taking care of their sleep, taking care of their nutrition, taking care of their hydration, doing all those other things that play a factor, and then let the performance speak for itself.
When you deal with coaches or strength and conditioning, what is like because some strength and conditioning coaches, they have their upper body on Monday, lower body on Tuesday, rest day on Wednesday. Like what, from your experience, what have you seen the improvement?
So the question was like, how do I essentially how do I structure training for my athletes? So it depends on what they're doing. I'm the type of coach personally that I try to ask them, what are you doing outside of this? So I'm going to use a perfect example. Devo's right up there. I trained his entire team. I trained Don Bosco's team. The first thing I asked Devo in August before we started training was, what's your schedule? What's your schedule for the fall? Told me we're doing fall league on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We may play on Sundays. I'm like, okay, they're going to have a rest day on Friday, Saturday or so. I'm going to train them on Mondays and Wednesdays. Since I only have 2 days to train them, that means I not only have to do speed and strength in 2 days, but I also have to worry about conditioning them, because he wants a more conditioned basketball team that can play up and down the floor, and there's only 7 guys that's going to be able to play. So not only am I taking the input on what the coach takes, I then have to use that input toward my expertise into how to get everything to also help the athletes. Plus, you know, mitigating injuries, dealing with injuries if they're playing and whatnot. So generally speaking, I don't go into splits with athletes unless they're training at least 4 days a week. For the most part, most athletes are all training total body and they're doing speed on top of that. Any other questions? So question is like protein, creatine, vitamins, supplements, should they be having it at that age? My biggest thing is, are they having 3 real meals a day first before you even get into supplements? Like, if your kid doesn't wake up to eat breakfast and have lunch and eat dinner, then I really don't care about supplements. Because if you're telling me that, oh, I didn't have time to wake up and eat breakfast, then you really don't care. I will tell you straight up. I'm not like, if I look at you and you're a basketball player and you're 6'2" and you're 170 pounds, I don't want to hear shit. Go eat something. Like, that's in all honesty. So before we get to all the supplements and stuff, focus on telling your kids to eat 3 real meals a day, right? And it don't make it complicated either. A bacon, egg, and cheese will go a long way with these kids, right? A better lunch instead of the chicken nuggets at lunch will go a long way with these kids. We as coaches and former athletes know what right looks like from a nutrition perspective. Eating fruits instead of having candy, having veggies with every meal. We know those things. We need to be able to teach those kids and tell them that, though. But then outside of that, yes, they can have a scoop of protein, they can have creatine. None of that's really gonna mess with them. That's only gonna help them. But so long as they're having 3 meals a day, they're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and they're drinking a gallon of water at least. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
JuJu, throughout the course of the year, did you increase the team speed for Don Bosco from beginning to end?
Absolutely. Like about a 7% increase. Thank you, everybody. I'll stick around, but I appreciate you sticking around for me. Thank you. I have Bosco, Hudson, Peters, a few guys off of Bergen right now, Yeah, but team-wise, it's only 3. Yeah, team-wise, it's only 3.
And you do that. How do you split the time?
Just know I don't get sleep. Just understand I don't get sleep. So I schedule it to suit me because I'm the only one doing it. So I go to Hudson Mondays and Wednesdays in the morning at 6:30. Bosco comes to me, Peters comes to me. So Bosco comes to me Mondays and Wednesdays at 2:30 in the afternoon. Peters comes to me at 6 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. Sorry, Peters comes to me Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6. I don't have my cards on me, but I'll give you my contact info though. How you doing?
I've run 8 marathons. I was curious if you train adults.
I do.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
I have an adult. I have a full-blown adult
I'll look
program.
up you on your website.
Yeah.
I do work at the track and stuff, but I could probably use some coaching.
Absolutely.
My son maybe too. So we go to Hohokus sometimes, and they have that shooting zone over there.
So my gym is that's my gym next to it.
Oh, it's
I
next
own
to
that.
Culture Basketball?
No, the weightlifting facility right next to the
Oh,
shooting.
yeah, that's what
I own
where
that.
they play a lot of
Yeah,
lacrosse?
well, not anymore. I actually bought it out and I own it now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So we go there a lot in the spring, so maybe we could set this up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Anytime. I'm usually there in the afternoon, so stop in and whatnot.
Okay, it's nice to meet you.
JuJu.
It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Patrick,
that's my
nice to
son,
meet
Tim.
you.
He plays on the AAU team with
Okay.
under his program.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Patrick. 201 598 9779.
7-9.
Yeah. And just text me. So I've had a few Hilltopper kids over the years.
I coach high school.
Who have I had from Hilltoppers now that I think about it?
Recently?
Over the last 3 years, who have I had from Hilltoppers?
Probably Jalen Brown.
Jaden Brown.
He's he goes here.
Boogie. I had Boogie.
What book?
That's what they call him.
Okay.
Jay Boogie. I had his older brother. I've had Evan Cabral. You guys used to have a kid, Mikey DeSpirito. I've had a few Hilltopper kids over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get my high school team to the top sheet.
What do you think they're lacking?
Mind, nutrition. Pleasure
Nice
meeting you.
meeting you.
I'll get you contact.
Absolutely.
Coach B.
Conditioning is terrible.
I'll see you.
They just don't. I don't know how bad they want it. Sometimes we have a pretty good team, but they don't push themselves enough.
So there's a couple things on that. One, my take on conditioning. You know how you get better at conditioning? Play basketball. In all honesty, like, if there's anything that Rick Pitino said that was like a gem, was like, he doesn't condition his guys. You know how he conditions them? He just plays more basketball and he plays it harder with them. And even for myself, a lot of the stuff that those 3 coaches had brought up, especially Phil, when it came to like drills and whatnot, I'm gonna start using from a conditioning perspective because you only get more conditioned at the game by playing the game. Basketball is one of those sports that you actually get more conditioned by playing the game, not by doing the extra lines and the 17s and shit after the fact, right? Football is a little bit different in that regard, but basketball, that's one of them sports that you just gotta, it goes back to, somebody had asked the question before, how do you build confidence? And I think that ties into how do you get a kid to want it more? You gotta make them compete. And you gotta call them out when they're not competing. Make them compete and like all them drills that Phil showed, I'm thinking about using it on Monday with my basketball teams and like, this is our conditioning. Because one, the minute especially if I do it as a strength and conditioning coach, it's gonna change a switch for them. They're gonna be excited because they're salivating to get to basketball season in 3 weeks. So they're gonna be happy as hell the minute I start, yo, this is our conditioning, ball out.
What are the workouts you have with these teams?
So I do speed training with them. I do strength training with them. That's pretty out. Like my goal is to like raise the ceiling on how fast they can get up and down the floor. Like, you know, tell people this all the time. Like Billy's the team to beat this year. Like, so and you know how fast his guys get up the floor. So how are you competing with that, right? How are you beating that? You got to beat that with speed. How you beat speed? You could train speed. It was definitely talked about earlier. You could train speed. How do you train speed? That's where you get, and I'm not saying like humble. That's where you get a professional to do that. Also, from a coach's perspective, coaches don't want to inundate themselves with that shit. They want to be able to pass. That's why a head coach got a strength and conditioning coach on his staff at the college level. He don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, we played them this summer actually.
Yeah.
And they were just too big for us.
Yeah.
You definitely have to outrun them, in order to beat them.
And even if you try to outrun them, them bigs can run.
Yes, they can.
Them bigs can run.
Yes, they can.
And then if you try to outrun them, guess what he gonna do? I'm gonna pick you up 3/4 court. I ain't gonna press you full court, but I'm gonna get you 3/4 though. And then that adds a little bit of pressure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. JuJu again. Coach Brown. Coach Kelvin Brown, nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.